Hello, I'm Mithun. I'm 35, 36 now. 2 years ago, 2 years and 2 months ago, a Sunday morning, I was on my way to work on my motorbike, which is always my way of commuting for the last 9 years. Uh, I was almost halfway into my workplace and I saw a white truck on the left. The next thing I remember when I woke up is I'm on the floor feeling very cold. I work in a busy A&E, and I see one of my colleagues, a paramedic, looking down on me from a height. And that's when I realized I was actually on the floor. I couldn't feel my legs. I was very scared. And I realized things are not good because I could see the sky and I could see a lot of people around me and I couldn't move. I was trapped. The next thing that came to my mind is my wife, Misha, and I heard from them later on that I was screaming her name as like, can somebody call Misha and tell her that I'm here? And the paramedic said I was screaming to them, don't let me die. I've got small children, don't let me die. Injury-wise, with the impact, I obviously broke my hand. My left hand was in two pieces. It broke in the middle, both the bones. It was hanging down. I broke my collarbone, and I was bleeding out from my collarbone. Punctured a few ribs, which didn't help because I couldn't breathe. Because every time I was breathing, it was hurting me. So I realized, something's not right there, and I still couldn't feel my legs. And one of my friends said, "Your leg is badly broken." So I broke my hip, and I broke my femur, which is your big thigh bone, in half.
Mithun actually is a friend of mine and he lives in my same hometown. We live in same place. I met him as usual as a client of mine. I believe it was in 2010. And at that time he was single, not married, very young guy and a bit reluctant to take protection at that time. But, for some reason, and he always tell me, only because of my words at some point I was telling like it only costs like a bucket of KFC. That's what he told me, and he thought he will take that. And later in 2014, he got married, and I visited him again, and he also took life protection to protect his family.
So I have a very small family here. Basically, my wife and my two kids. Not many other people here in England. All my family are back home in India. My parents and my wife's parents, and all I have is a lot of friends here. No relatives as such. So my next thoughts were, what are they going to do? As you do. I was just worried what's going to happen because I knew from the impact and because I work in this industry that I will be having a lot of time off work. I won't be getting involved with a lot of things, and I didn't even know the extent of my damages at that point. That's when I realized I will need a lot of help.
Actually, I was in Cornwall at that time when Mithun had an accident. I had few calls, like 30 calls in the morning when I woke up, and I was expecting something wrong. And when I called back, I heard that Mithun had a terrible accident. I came back as soon as I can, from Cornwall after my holiday.
There were a lot of things which were rushing to my head. Am I going to lose my job? Am I going to walk? Am I going to survive this? Am I going to die? I was very scared, and I felt very upset that it happened to me. I felt unfair. I felt it was unfair. I was on my way to work, and why? Why did this happen to me? My local hospital couldn't treat me. They felt, my injuries were quite intense. And as per protocol, they had to shift me to a trauma center. So I went to the Royal London Hospital at Whitechapel. 7 surgeries in a span of 11 days. And they managed to fix my fractures. But they did warn me that I will be in hospital for a while. I couldn't walk. I was in bed. I couldn't sit up without any help. And they said I will need a lot of rehab. I started thinking about the reality. Okay, what's going to happen next? So with the NHS, you get an year's worth of sick pay, full pay for 6 months, and then half pay for the next 6 months. But again, it's just your basic pay, not enhancements. I had planned a life with all these enhancements because it was coming, and I was used to it. I had a mortgage, a beautiful house, and I had my hobbies, the motorbike, We had loads of things planned at home, and it was all working fine. It was all running fine. I never had to think about what if the money stops until now.
I know Mithun was not in a position to do anything. He was in hospital, and Misha was with two little kids. How she can do that as well? So I done everything from start to end, and I tried to get the stress away from them.
I was in hospital for 2.5 months. So I was trying to focus on my physical health. So I was trying to, I had a lot of surgeries, a lot of scans. And then when I was discharged home, I was in a wheelchair. But the appointments I had a lot of appointments. I don't live near London, so I live a bit off London. So I had to go up to London for my appointments. When I was in hospital and when I came out for the first few weeks, I had transport arranged by the hospital because of the intensity of my injuries. And gradually it all stopped. Money was all raking up. Somebody had to come with me. So what should have been a £20 trip was coming up to like 100, 110 every appointment. And I had an appointment every 2 weeks for the next 4 months.
I tried maximum, my maximum. I managed to help them throughout the process. They were so stressed. They were not in a very good position to do all the process. I helped from the start to end as much as possible from my side. Yes.
While I was in hospital, I had a lot of visitors, a lot of friends, a lot of colleagues, and one of the visitors was Jijo, who's a friend I've known for 11 years now. So Jijo was the advisor who advised me to get the accident protection with MetLife at that time with me. I was a single man. All of us passionate about his motorbikes, no family ties then. And he jokingly said, it's going to cost you the price of a KFC bucket, and you're on a motorbike, you're at risk of falling down, maybe breaking a leg. I took the policy out in 2011, I believe, and I didn't have to use it until 2019 when this thing happened. And at the time when I had even completely forgotten that I had this cover in place until Jijo came to see me in hospital and said, he was inquiring about my health. And then he gently reminded, you do realize, you have this in place and we could start this off. At that point, my concern was getting better, physically better. And so I would have rushed back to work thinking about the financial strains I would have incurred. With all the expenses, I still had a mortgage to pay. I had still all the bills to pay. I was even thinking of cutting off what I could. Like we took off Sky because we thought that was something which we could live without. We kept the internet, we kept the basics, but this is things which we needed. This is just necessities, not luxuries. And when the payout came, it actually gave me some relief in the sense I focused a bit more on my rehab. It took me another 8 more months, but I was able to return to work in a phased pattern, of course. But the payout was immensely helpful, as in it came at a time when I really needed it. And when I initially took this out with Jijo, I never thought I would need this. And I was one of them dismissive, anti-insurance kind of people who were like, this is for people who are ill, not for a fit person like me. And it just goes to show that anything can happen. I thought I was going to die, but I had some comfort in my mind, feeling if I was not to be here anymore, there was a plan in place so that my family wouldn't have to. My family wouldn't have to go through the financial issues or the financial burdens on their own. There would have been a payout if something had happened to me, and that would have. I know my absence would be a huge loss to them, and I don't think nobody wants that. But I think the comfort of thinking, if something would happen, there was a plan in place to protect them financially so they can move on in life. I'm actually an advisor with Open Work now. And I've gotten a lot of friends who have the same views, very fit and healthy now. And they've seen what I went through and they could relate to what I went through. And they've all taken out these policies, these protection policies in place. And I've helped a lot of my friends. And that's what I keep doing now.
I'm so happy. I got the chance to help them, in my opinion. This is such a good job, helping people by doing a job. And people are thanking us for that. Such an amazing thing, I'm so happy about that.
Insurance is something which everybody thinks is Nobody wants to talk about it because it's all about it's human nature. We don't want to talk about the bad things in life. And these are bad things in life. An accident, which is an unexpected event, which nobody wants it to happen, but nobody wants to plan for it even. So for the amount of money you're paying, it's the peace of mind you get. If something happens, what if something happens? There is something in place.